It's very important. Look, the street wants a referendum, a new referendum. I don't know how likely that will be.
The street wants a new referendum?
The street believes that if you get a referendum, they'll stay, that the vote will be to stay. And that's what they want. This is too disruptive. Everybody wants business to stay where it is. They don't want businesses moving around. They don't want a lot of cross-border difficulties. They just want status quo the way it is right now. I don't know how likely that is, but yes, it's very important. And I can tell you the SEC, we had the head of the SEC on with you last week. Clayton expressed his concern about the disruptive nature of Brexit on U.S. corporations. Luca,
but you're bullish on UK equities. Is that because you think Brexit is going to happen or it's not?
Actually, we are bullish almost regardless of the outcome of Brexit. I know it sounds a little bit strange. The reality is that if you look at UK markets, there's really nothing to do with UK economy. So if you have, let's say, a good deal, obviously, if you are a U.S. investor, what's going to happen is that the pounds will go up, and you can benefit from that. If there is no Brexit, or let's say if there is a bad deal or hard Brexit, the pounds will actually fall, and a lot of US corporations will actually benefit from that. So we feel that almost in any outcome, the UK equity market will do well, obviously assuming that global growth will remain weak, because UK market is very defensive. That's why.
Is a weak pound enough to offset the disruption from a Brexit, though?
No, I think
the disruption to Europe overall.
For the UK economy, it would be a problem. But again, the UK market, the UK stocks are basically global multinational, very defensive.
I understand that, but a lot of them are exporters to Europe, for instance, the EU region. And so with a Brexit, I mean, is that enough to offset the potential weakness that will come from Brexit, the impact on the EU countries?
Obviously, we need to wait what kind of outcome is going to be, because I think what is going to be decided today is really not the end of the story. It's a long story. It will continue in the next few days. I think if there is really an hard Brexit with no agreement whatsoever, that would be probably worse for everybody, but I think the probability is still very, very low.
Or I wonder, Bob, if we had that kind of event, would it be similar to some of even the Trump election, where you had a huge sell-off that night and then a big rally? I mean, the UK has a lot of questions to answer about how well it could make itself in Singapore or a Hong Kong if it just leaves the EU entirely. But after getting over that reality, do you think markets could come around?
I'd be very careful about equating the Trump election with this particular event. This is a major economic event. That was a political event that led to some economic issues. No, I think that's not a good idea overall, and I think the market has already voted on that. So we've got the opinion of the Attorney General. It said that the legal risks are unchanged, so that means that there's still a real issue with the backstop remaining. That's going to be unacceptable, right? The vote's going to fail, right?
Yeah, I think it's very likely that the vote will be a no. There will be new votes, I think, tomorrow about other options, but I think it would be very, very surprising to me if this deal today is going to pass. I think we still have a little bit of time, but today I think it will be a no.
So what's the chances for a referendum, a new referendum?
I believe it's very low. It's very low because we have to understand that also the opposition party, the Labour Party, is not completely convinced about a second referendum. The polls are not obvious. There is probably a slight lead for Remain, but it's not clear. And it's legally, I think it's very, very difficult to go for a second referendum.
So you think we're not headed for necessarily a new vote? So are we talking about an extension then?
Yes.
They're just kicking the can down the road?
That's exactly what we normally do in Europe, and it's probably the most sensible things to do. And in a few months, there may be a new government, things may change, and actually be potentially easier to find a compromise on a deal. Currently, I think it's the most logical solution. So if the